But this is our section 2.2 notes. We're going to talk today about the last bit of information that's going to be on your quiz on Friday. Okay, we're going to do distance and midpoint from yesterday. And then today we're going to talk about circles and X and Y intercepts. So from yesterday, if you're going to find the distance between these 2 points and the midpoint, let's just set this up. And I have these 2 points are 8, 9.
Can you please send down your Talone down to the services?
Sure.
Thank you.
And -6, -5, right? Yes? Okay, so if I'm going to find the distance, guys, let's get our distance formula set up. I have my 2 parentheses with a plus sign in between them, right? I'm squaring both these parentheses, and I have a negative sign in the middle. So I keep my x's together. What are my 2 x's? 8 and -6. And then what are my y's? 9 and -5. So you guys see that this is plus, and that becomes plus. So 8 and 6 is? So 14 squared plus, what's 9 and 5? 13 squares. Anybody know what 14 squared is? 256. Anybody know what 13 squared is? 169. Good. So when I add those two together, 256, 169, what does that give me? 914. Oh, I said 13? Whoops. Thank you. Let's go back because I can't add. So I have 14 and 14? Okay, just kidding. So 14 squared, so 256? Yes? Yeah. What's 256 plus 256? $512? Does anybody know the square root of 512? I'm not going to give you numbers crazy like this. 25? Okay, so then we would break it down if we could. I'm not going to worry about doing that right this second because I want to get through the rest of this lesson. But if I was going to find the midpoint, ladies and gents, how would I find the midpoint? You add what? Add the x's. So 8 plus -6 divide by 2. And then what? 9 plus -5 divide by 2. What's 8 plus -6? 2 over 2 is? So 1 comma. What's 9 plus -5? So 4 over 2 is 2. So there's our midpoint. Okay? All right. Moving along, guys. We're going to talk about X and Y intercepts. Let's write this down. Write this down. To find the X intercept, plug 0 in for Y. To find the Y-intercept, what do we do?
Plug 0 for X.
Yep, 0 in for X. So if I have an equation like Y equals X squared minus 2. So here's my equation. Y equals X squared minus 2. I'm going to find my X-intercept. So I'm going to plug in 0 for Y. And I'm going to find my Y-intercept, plug in 0 for X. Everybody agree, understand what I'm doing? Yes? No? Okay, so for here, I'm going to plug in 0 for what? For the Y. So 0 equals X squared minus 2. How do I solve this? Okay, add 2 to both sides. So you get X squared equals 2. Then what? Take the square root. So your X-intercept is at plus or minus what? Root 2. So you would write plus or minus root 2. Do you know exactly where that is? No? But it's in between 1 and 2. Just solving an equation. That's it. Now if I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find the Y-intercept, I'm plugging 0 in for what? X. So Y equals 0 squared minus 2. Well, what's 0 squared? 0 minus 2 is? So my intercept is at 0, -2. Does anybody know what shape this graph would make? A U. How come? Because it's squared. Good. Very good.
Can you zoom in on the
Zoom in or out?
in? Which square part?
Where y is squared?
Because of the squared. If it was to the third power, it would be a cubic graph. But to find intercepts, guys, all you do is plug in 0 for the opposite thing you're looking for. That's it. You guys have seen that algebraically. All right, look at this. We're going to talk about the equation of a circle in standard form. We need to know this right here. The equation of our circle. This is an equation of a line. Right? You guys familiar with that? What does the M stand for? Slope. What does the B stand for? Y-intercept, okay? This is the equation of a circle. In the equation of a circle, and I know you guys have seen this before, but we may not remember it.
Do you know that formula?
Yes.
Is this cartoon?
Uh-huh. In the equation of a circle, the center, you can pick out the center of the circle by what is with the x and what is with the y. And then whatever it's equal to at the end is your radius squared. This will make more sense once we look at some examples. All right, if I have an equation that is just x squared plus y squared, what is being added right here to x squared? Is there a number being added or subtracted? No, that's why it's 0 for x. If there a number here for y, that's why it's 0. So if you have something like this, when it says graph this circle, you can tell me what the center and the radius is right now. What number in parentheses is being added to x squared? No. What number in parentheses? Do you see something?
No.
So then it's 0, 0. What is my radius of this circle? It's not 25.
Oh, it's 5.
You take the square root. Not half. You take the square root. So the radius is what? 5. How come it's not plus or minus?
Because if you square it, it'll be even. Like, it's not.
You can't have a minus radius.
Can't have a minus radius, a minus distance. I know what you're thinking. That's good. So if I were to graph this, guys, look, I put a point at the 0 where the center is. And then how far is each point away from the center? 5. So you can just go up 5, right 5, down 5, left 5, and draw your circle. But this is easy, I promise. Once we put numbers with it, you'll be like, oh, okay. First of all, I remember this, and secondly, oh, I can do this. So if we go to something like this, and it says, what is the equation? Do you see how there's something being added or subtracted for the x and for the y? Okay, so your center. Now remember, in our equation, the original equation, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. What is this sign right here? It's negative. So if I were to plug a positive number in for h, just say I put 3, what would it look like in the equation? X minus 3. But I put in what kind of a number? Positive. If I were to put in a negative number, like -2, negative gives me a... So when you are identifying the center, it's always the opposite of what you would think it is. So this looks like it would be -2, but it's really what? Positive 2. This looks like it would be +1, but it's really what? -1. It's always the opposite of the sign that's in the middle. And then what is my radius? 5. So if you were going to graph that, where would you put your center? At 2, -1. And then where do I put all those other points to draw my circle?
5.
Yep. Go 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So we forget to just the opposite, we just put 0 to the opposite.
Yeah, you can do that. Let me give you another example. I don't think I have any. Yeah, let me give you another example right here. Like, what if I had x plus 6 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 81? X minus 13 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 100. X squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 1. All right, for these three, look at this. What is the center of this circle right here?
-6.
It's at -6. What?
Positive.
Positive 5. The opposite of the signs. That make sense? What's the radius?
9.
Very good, guys. What is the center for this circle? 13 comma -4. And what's my radius? What's the center of this circle?
0.
0, 1. And what's my radius? Perfect. Is that really that hard?
No.
No. What do you have to remember? The opposite of what's with the x minus. And if there's nothing there, what do we write? 0. Good. All right, you guys want a ton of those on your quiz? Okay, we like those. All right, find the equation of the circle with a radius and center. So think about it, guys. They told me that r is what? 3. And they told me that the center is 2, -5. They want me to write the actual equation. So x minus 8, I know some of you already know this. Now, some of you are like, do I have to remember that? Guys, think about it. What letter comes first? X. What letter comes second? Y. And then what comes at the end? R. You don't really have to think about much. My equation, if I was going to write this, is x what?
-2.
X minus 2 squared plus
+5 squared.
y plus 5 squared equals perfect. Because think about it. If I put right here, if I plug in minus a -5, what happens with minus a negative? It becomes positive. That's why. But I know at first thinking about, oh my gosh, I got to remember that equation of the circle. It's really not that hard to remember. Because x comes first, y is the second. They're going to give you the information you need. You just kind of plug it in. You got to remember signs. Let's look at this one. Find the equation circle that has points 1, 8, -5, 6 as the endpoints of a diameter. Okay? We got to do some work here for this one. If there is not a picture, what do you think I suggest that you do? Draw one. Okay, I'm going to draw a circle. What did they tell me these 2 points are? Where are they?
1, 8.
Okay, 1, 8, and what else? But where on the circle are they?
1, 8 is somewhere
Are they in the middle of the circle? Are they on the circle?
right.
It's the end points of the diameter.
It's the endpoints of the diameter, so they're both on the circle, right? So put them wherever. I don't care. So let's just say this is 1, 8. And this is 5, -6. You guys are going to say, why'd you put it there? Well, the diameter does what to a circle?
It tells you how long it is from side.
So from side to side. There you go. From one point to the other. Now, what are the 2 things I need to write the equation of the circle? I need the center, right? And I need the radius. Given these 2 points, there's 2 formulas that we know to find both of those things. How did I find the center of this line segment? The midpoint. It's the middle, right? So in order to find the center, we're going to use the midpoint formula. Very good. So guys, 1, 8, 5, -6. So what are my x's, what are my y's? 1 plus 5 divided by 2, yes? And then 8 plus -6 divided by 2. So 6 divided by 2 over 2 divided by 2? Where's my center? At 3, 1. Good. So my center is at 3, 1. So we can already start the equation of our circle. What do I fill in those parentheses? X minus 3 y minus 1. Good. Now, I need to know the length of the radius. There's two things we can do here. Two different ways to do it. Right? I already know this point right here is 3, 1. Radius. Tell me again what radius is.
It's half of the diameter.
It's half of the diameter. So I could use what formula to find how long the radius is? Distance. I can find the distance from one side to the other and cut it in half. Or I can find the distance from what?
From one of the endpoints.
From one of the endpoints to the middle. Doesn't matter which one. I personally am going to choose 1, 8, and 3, 1. Does anybody have any idea why I would choose those two?
It's just closer.
They're smaller and they're also all what? Positive. You don't have to worry about negatives. But there's a couple, if you guys found the distance from here to here and then cut it in half, that would give you the radius. You could find the distance from here to here. You could find the distance from here to here. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same number. But I personally am going to use 1, 8, and 3, 1 because they're positive. So in order to find the radius, whoops. Seriously? Okay, for radius, I'm going to use the distance formula. So I'm going to do, what did we say, 1, 8, 3, 1? Distance formula. Set it up. What goes in the middle of each parenthesis? Minuses. Square this. What do you guys notice about this equation and this equation? Yeah. Isn't that funny? So, all you're doing is the distance formula when you have a circle. What am I putting in for my x's? 1 and 3. What am I putting in for my y's? 8 and 1. So, what's 1 minus 3? Negative 2 squared plus, what's 8 minus 1? 7 squared, okay. So I have negative 2 squared is 4 plus 7 squared is 49. And then I get the square root of what? 53. And you guys are like, oh geez, that's a yucky number. Now think about this. This is r, right? Agreed? So when I go back to my formula, is this going to be the square root of 53? Not double. It's going to be what? Not half. What is the formula? What is the formula? Squared. So what happens to the squared and the square root? It cancels out. So it's just going to be x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1. Whoops, sorry. Y minus 1 squared equals 53. Mm-hmm.
When you're doing the distance formula, it doesn't matter which x or y you put
Nope.
first. Okay.
Nope. Because, guys, look, the reason it doesn't matter is because you're squaring. If I said 1 minus 3, I get negative 2, right? Negative 2 squared is 4. What's 3 if I did it the other way? What's 3 minus 1? And 2 squared is, so same thing.
So the radius is 53.
The radius is the square root of 53. But when you put it in the formula, they want the radius squared.